Hi, my name's sinden. I'm going to wade in like some kind of self-important, deeply impressed person who thinks that their opinion is in any way significant. Sorry about that, but that's what the internet is for in some respects. This morning the news came out via The Independent online that boy band JLS have been named Britain's hardest working band of the year for the second time consecutively. This award was given to them by PRS, and it's obviously pleased a lot of people on the JLS side. It's already upset a vast amount of people, well, frankly, on the other side. The largest problem, of course, is that JLS have a huge amount of detractors, which won't really help the issue. Similarly, they also have a vast amount of fans who also will be profoundly involved in the issue, and in my experience already this morning, I think both sides are really letting themselves down by either being overly vicious or ignorant. Harsh words, but there we go. First of all, and I'm just going to proclaim myself here as I work within the music industry. I'm a musician, an independent musician, and I run a very small imprint record label. I am not proclaiming myself to be the voice of reason. I have had some experience within the music industry in several bands. I am a practicing musician still, and a touring one. However, this is simply, in some respects, a layperson's opinion. Please, first of all, specifically metalheads, which form the vast majority of my friends and the people that I see commenting online at the moment with regards to this, calm down. Seriously. Death threats are never cool, whether you think you're joking or whether you're slinging them towards a grown adult, or, as are the case with many JLS fans, actually underage girls. I mean, death threats just aren't cool anyway, but least of all to these kind of people, who will get, if not insulted, actually probably quite frightened by it. Keyboard warriors do have a tendency to resort to things like, you should die of cancer or something like that, and don't do that. That's not okay. If you don't like JLS, I don't particularly like JLS. I don't personally award them with much artistic merit at all, I'm afraid to say. It's not my thing. If you don't like them, fine, absolutely. I completely join you on that. The reasons that seem to be being expressed today for not liking them are numerous and varied. If it's a simple case of artistic opinion and musical preference, no, I mean, I'm with you, I don't greatly like them. But to clear up a few sort of factoids, the sort of internet favourite thing, because a lot of unsubstantiated claims about this act. Funnily enough, in looking into them, it turns out that actually I have the wonderful dual sort of visual setup for monitors, so I can check on one page that I'm actually talking about something relatively true whilst talking. It turns out that no, they were actually sort of a musical group before they got signed or made it or became famous or got to the point where they could actually perform 34 shows in a year. No, I'm afraid they were. They were formed by these. They've always been these four chaps. So I don't know if I have the pronunciation correct on this. I hope I do. Aritze Williams, Marvin Humes, J.B. Gill, and Aston Marigold. It was this one chap who seemed to have started it all off. You've got the usual sort of X Factor styled sob story, which is not to denigrate it by any means. It is obviously massively tragic that Aritze's mother has multiple sclerosis and that he's doing it for her, but I think a lot of people have become desensitized to being provided with reasons to like a band because of hardship, which is a great pity, because obviously it's a sad thing that's what he's facing in life. Nevertheless, this chap did start it, and I should really point out that, guys, if you don't like bands that only have singers in them or are only marketed to have the four singers in them, way before genuine bands like, I don't know how far you want to go back, say to Motorhead or Metallica, or even as back as like, the Beatles, practically predating stuff like that. I mean, there's a bevy of similar acts that have existed. I mean, you've got like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. yes, fine, they played instruments, but they were 4 guys, and they were effectively a boy band in many respects. Or you've got the entire Motown thing. I mean, without, for instance, Abdul Fakir, Levi Stubbs, Ronaldo Benson, Lawrence Payton, you know, and the several other members that went through the band, you would not have had the 4 Tops, and they were categorically one of the most successful, effectively, boy bands that have ever existed. And it went on from there. It's a format that's worked, and it's actually arguably worked before, you know, guitar bands really came to the fore. You sort of need to drop that one a bit. I have the same resentment as many for manufactured pop acts. You know, I mean, for instance, people tend to gloss over the fact that stuff like the Spice Girls were as a result of a sort of talent show styled or set of auditions. It just wasn't televised, which is what people seem to be most concerned by. You know, you can't really sort of take that away from them. Whether you think that they don't have any music or artistic merit or not, in respect to JLS, they can sing. I feel that yes, they do have fairly evident use of auto-tune, but that's not going to be proven either way anytime soon. But it exists, there you go. They apparently do a lot of work for charity, but since Harry Enfield's sort of smashy and nicey characters, I can't help but feel that's always a bit charity, don't like to talk about it, mate. But there you go. I mean, they've done well. They set up their own business. Yes, they were unfortunately on you know, the X Factor, which as far as I'm concerned is possibly the greatest scourge of the music industry within the UK and many other countries, that's putting everything at risk, really, other than other factors like the, you know, sort of retail market crashing. But there we are. Ho hum. Shit does indeed happen, doesn't it? They have made it, and they've done fairly well. They haven't really greatly offended a huge amount of people, and in fact, them receiving this award, please remember that it's not them that have necessarily said that they would do it, or that they should have been awarded it. They have been awarded it by the PRS, which is a very effective collections agency, without whom a great many of you, as in my friends, wouldn't face the possibility of further income from live performances and the like. You know, for personal opinion's sake, and I'm putting my neck on the line with this, I do think it's a great pity that Barney Hooper from the PRS has actually even gone on record to say what he has about this award. But there we go. On the flip side, fans of JLS, I've had a real weird morning with this. I've been interacting with people on the JLS page about the award, because unfortunately I was provoked to do so, because it was very evident there were a lot of people who were going on that Facebook page essentially to be really actually despicably horrible and actually fairly threatening towards JLS fans, which is wrong. If JLS fans were stupid enough to come onto any of your favourite bands' pages and start singing insults around, you know what the reaction would be, and they're just as entitled to do that as you are. However, JLS fans, I've noticed, or the few that in fact have been vociferous enough to engage with me over this, were talking about haters. There you are. I don't know if I qualify as one, I'm not sure. I've tried to be as objective and calm as possible and not use insult, but I've found that unfortunately when you start to detail what the problem is, many actually start to delete the original thread that they posted about, which, okay, again, resorting to harsh words here, but that is a basic form of cowardice. If you're not prepared to engage and discuss your opinion with other people objectively and take on the responsibility of what you said, then there's a problem. Now, this is not by any means to you know, release responsibility or guilt in any way, but I've noticed that the vast majority of people I've been speaking to on the JLS Facebook page are young girls. No, that's not me being dodgy. I'm not seeking them out by any means. That'd be very weird. But more along the lines of the opinions being suggested by many people are rather, I don't know, can I say uninformed, possibly, not really backed up by a great sense of logic. Obviously, it is a great thing for you guys of any age to be supporting JLS, and I do mean that. As much as I dislike them, supporting music that you love is hugely important. Without that, you wouldn't have the music you love, and there would also be no chance of other people who will come beyond JLS creating new music. Keep doing that. Keep, if you will, defending them. I hope you do it intelligently. But you know, without that, the music industry itself is at stake. Similarly, my friends who are having a go at people simply for liking JLS. Why? They're allowed to. It's as simple as that. I mean, it really is. But in as much as, you know, JLS fans, guys, what you need to understand is what has happened here. What has happened is your band that you really like have been awarded a prestigious title from a particularly established body within the music industry called the PRS, and you may obviously know them. Sorry to be condescending in any way, but what they've been awarded is a title which I'm afraid to say, on its most basic level or definition, is inaccurate. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's wrong necessarily, but it is inaccurate. And that is that the title is that they are the hardest working band of the UK. I think, and let's just make sure I got that absolutely right. Well, okay, I'll have to look that up, otherwise we'll have a few minutes of me being completely silent, which to some will be great. But they have been proclaimed the hardest working band. Now, that's not really okay, on the basis, apparently, of them having performed 34 gigs in the last year. There are bands in the UK, and several internationally as well, but let's just concentrate on the UK for now. There are bands in the UK who will perform 34 shows in one tour, and do more than one tour per year. Many need to do that in order to remain in the music industry. In fact, I would say possibly the majority of them. You probably haven't heard of these bands, and why would you? It may not be your kind of music. But this isn't just restricted, let's say, to heavy metal. This is indie, acoustic, folk, rock, punk, tons of different types, you know, where it is absolutely necessary for these acts to gig to that frequency and level on a regular basis. Be they signed or not, it's simply to maintain a fan basis. The problem is that it ceases to become whether these people, whether we or anyone else like JLS, it's more about the fact that there is now going to be a misunderstanding. And there are going to be a lot of people who genuinely will believe that that title is correct. What would be better is a more refined title. Should we say that JLS, and this is quite possible, could be the hardest working boy band in the UK this year? Great, fantastic, it's probably true. Let's wait for the statistics, but yeah, there we go. But to proclaim them as a band, and that, by the way, means it includes everyone that classes themselves as a band. Now, you can start a band tomorrow, that's the beauty of it, of course. I mean, you can say that you're a band. If you've got a mate, even if it's just the two of you, you're technically a band, there's more than one. But the big thing is that what you can't ignore is that there are actually thousands of musical acts within the industry who are plugging away very, very hard at this. Releasing their own music, in some cases releasing it via a label, but nevertheless, it's them that's putting the work in. These are people who are touring the UK in vans, sleeping in the vans, not getting hotels, as JLS I'm sure are quite prone to doing. Not having administration and basic tour management provided for them, and most importantly, in so many cases, not receiving income. That's a really, really big factor here. A huge factor, in fact. Now, I don't want to do down the fact that JLS are very evident. They do a lot of charity work. That's a great thing. But don't forget, they are on a salary. They will be receiving income from everything they do. I'm going to go so far as to say, at least from my own experience, there are a huge amount of bands within the UK who receive nothing from any of the shows they perform. They sometimes have their costs covered, and that's a great thing. For instance, in my own pursuits, I'm not really greatly interested in profits. What I'm interested in is to make sure that the music gets heard, the performances and gets seen. It would be great to be doing this to make sure that I'm doing it at no financial loss to myself, but for the most part there is a huge amount of loss. It's a loss leader, especially with the industry in the case that it is. So to have someone say that they are hard working or hardest working is something of an insult to those who put in considerably more in promoting themselves, self-managing, booking the shows, doing their own promotion, paying for their own advertising, rehearsing, performing their own songs. Now JLS allegedly do write their own music, remains to be seen, I just don't know about that. But there is very simply a large undercurrent of very rich art and music that's going on that really will not be known by many. This needs to be respected, and if at least to just make a bit of a plea is, first of all, guys, if you really like JLS, fantastic, I'm not aiming to stop you doing that. But please, if you're confused about why there's so much hatred on one of your favourite band's pages at the moment today, it's because this title itself is actually quite upsetting to people who do a lot more work than JLS. Ultimately, enjoy the music. Let's hope we can all get on. Thanks.